की भी जरूरत है। धन्यवाद।
Shashi Tharoor, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I must say, we can have few more important issues before this House than the one before us today. Because we've heard people speaking about the demographic dividend. There are 225 million young people in our country between the ages of 10 and 19. The International Labour Organization says we will have 20% more young people starting work in 2020 than even China has today. But we need to train, educate and equip them to take advantage of these opportunities. And if we fail to do so, Mr. Chairman, we have seen with the Maoists and the Naxalites the dangers that confront us. Education is not just a socio-economic issue, it's a national security issue, because nothing is more dangerous to our country than undereducated, unemployed and unemployable young men who will be tempted by a Kalashnikov in the absence of any other stake in our society. This is why we are so dismayed, Mr. Chairman, by the slashing of the education budget in this country. I won't repeat all the numbers that many colleagues have already mentioned, but it's very sad, just to give you percentages, that the plan allocation has gone down by 24%, though it had gone up under UPA every year. That the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has been reduced by 22%, the midday meal scheme by 16%, the Madhyama Shiksha Abhiyan by 28%, the Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan by 48%. How can we achieve these objectives if we cut the money? Our Parliamentary Affairs Minister is very fond of saying, "Jitna aata utni roti." लेकिन आपकी फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री जब आटा नहीं देती है तो रोटी कैसे बनाएंगे? चूल्हा में अगर आग नहीं है तो रोटी कैसे पकाएंगे आप? This is the problem that we have got with this budget. Objectives that have been set cannot be achieved. And we talk about higher education. Somebody acknowledged that the budget for higher education is higher. But the fact is, let's look at the substance of it. We lament that we have no higher education institution in any of the global rankings of the top 200. But take the IITs. The government announces it's creating 5 IITs, new ones, and it's doing only 1,000 crores for the entire purpose. Whereas the government's own detailed project report shows that each new IIT needs at least 350 crores a year for 7 years to be able to be functioning. So what's going to be happening is that we're going to have inadequate funding, which will compromise the quality of education in the new IITs, the new IIMs. Now, Mr. Chairman, the fact is that we have to move on to other subjects because time is so short. But let's also look at the school system when it comes to enrollments and dropouts. It's extremely worrying that though we have over 100% now enrolling at the primary level, the dropout rate is so high that about 30% are dropping out by class 8. You can't educate children if they're not in school. How do we keep them in school? There are alarming figures in the latest MHRD reports of 60 lakh out-of-school children. This was 30 lakhs just a couple of years ago, so the trend is reversing in a negative way. And the problem is that my concern is that the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and disadvantaged children are the ones who are disproportionately missing out from educational opportunities. We find they're not taking advantage of schemes like the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya. We find that the centre is refusing to support now in the new budget the states in building 6,000 model schools. We know the minister is going to reply saying the onus is now going to go on the states because of the Finance Commission. But the truth is the states couldn't even manage to spend what they were supposed to spend in the earlier system when the centre was giving so much more. How are they going to manage now? Let's take Kendra Vidyalayas. Kendra Vidyalayas, each of us knows as an MP what a demand there is. For my 6 seats, I have 459 requests. Now, the Standing Committee has suggested that we increase the number of seats for MPs. We know that's not a solution. The only solution is serious central investment in building maybe 500 new KBs in this country to cater to the people's demand for quality, affordable education. Is that central investment coming? Will Jawahar Nehru Vidyalayas, Navodaya Vidyalayas also be built and expanded? I had suggested some time ago that disadvantaged communities should be favoured because a residential school is a place where people who can't study at home should be allowed to stay. Our coastal communities, fishermen, why can't we have JNVs for the fishing community, for other minorities and disadvantaged groups? Teaching, Mr. Chairman, look at our situation today. Only 63% of our government schools have the pupil-teacher ratio as per the RTE norms. What is the government doing about it? The deadline was supposed to be March 2015. There is a shortage of trained teachers even in the training institutes, Mr. Chairman. And the problem we have now is that even in the Kendriya Vidyalayas, there is a 15% vacancy rate. 50% of positions in teacher training institutions are vacant. You may remember the late Justice Verma did a study of teacher training colleges in one state, Maharashtra. He studied 200 colleges and said 193 are so bad they should be closed down immediately. So we train teachers badly, they will teach children badly, and the result will be poor quality of learning outcomes. Infrastructure. Construction of Kendriya Vidyalayas, where is the money in this budget? There are 177 Kendriya Vidyalayas with pending delays in construction, including one in my constituency. Even in my constituency of Pangod and Thiruvananthapuram, it's been pending for some time. The ground reality, Mr. Chairman, is we must have more redoubled effort in monitoring and central financing, and the government cannot walk away from its central financing responsibilities. Otherwise, learning outcomes will continue to be weak. The National Achievement Surveys will continue to show that not even half the children in class 5 can read a class 2 text in our country. Even in Kerala, a state we've been so proud of for having first achieved 100% literacy, the latest Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan report shows a drop in the net enrollment ratio and a decline in learning outcomes. Two final points, Mr. Chairman. I know you're pressed for time. The first is our very serious concern as MPs in this House about the declining autonomy of institutions under MHRD. We're concerned about the resignations of a number of key figures, the chairman of the Board of Governors of IIT Bombay, the director of IIT Delhi, the director of the NCERT, even the chairman of the National Book Trust. We had a writer who has published 17 novels, 20 collections of short stories. The Book Trust, headed by somebody who has written books, and he has been asked to leave prematurely and been replaced by the editor of our RSS magazine. Now, this is something we have to worry about. There has been an attempt to move the Delhi University Vice-Chancellor, and only the Rashtrapati has blocked it, asking for more clarifications and details. UGC has been asked to issue directives to withdraw the 4-year course at the Delhi University, the very course the same UGC had approved the previous year. So this kind of autonomy, I'll give you one example, Mr. Chairman, on this subject. The Ministry of HRD has given an instruction that it must be informed before any MOUs with foreign universities are signed. This is contrary to the acts of this Parliament, which govern institutions like the IITs, NITs, and central universities, which give them the power to enter into academic collaborations with whoever they like. The previous NDA government had done the same thing. And when UPA came to power in 2004, we withdrew the requirement, saying it was unnecessary interference in the autonomy of institutions. Now it's come right back again. My worry, and I say this to the Minister with the greatest of respect, is that education is becoming over-regulated and under-governed. And what we need is more governance, more central investment, more central financing. And finally, the final point on the concerns others have already expressed about saffronization of education. I won't repeat them, but I will ask the Minister to please give this House an assurance that she will uphold the integrity of educational attainment in India, irrespective of religion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Dhanyavad, sir.